following is an update and technical analysis on Intelligent Biosolutions, a company of the healthcare sector and medical devices based upon the daily interval in which I had mentioned on the 4th of February 2024, titled in the previous video, Stock Trading Strategies on Multiple Trade Ideas, where I was observing certain stocks with interests in both directions, and we had a well-defined big divergent low with positive and or bullish divergences really constructed amongst all four key technical momentum indicators, where you had the oscillator histogram already churning to the upside with a green candle close above its zero line threshold, and watch for what was defined as a pivotal breakout amongst this primary, call it multi-year price resistance level, and that was a major reactionary high downtrend line of resistance in correlation of its 50 exponential moving average, and we popped that level. We additionally broke out of this bullish falling wedge pattern, and I specifically stated watch for an additional big breakdown move on a potential 40% crash to the downside, confluence of the trend line resistance, and additionally scale in and or dollar cost average down below some key additional targets, setting some stops below its divergent low, or additionally you begin the scaling out process where the momentum indicators will eventually burn out that divergent low reflected upon its zero threshold resistance level, and that would additionally undercut and burn out some positive divergences and keep it above those major reactionary potential high, those major reactionary lows down below, and gunning for some potential targets up above the $5 range, $6 range, and ultimately a backfill the gap, unfilled and unchecked gap around the 1238 price resistance level. And here's the update. Whereupon dollar cost averaging, we initially winded up getting the 40% crash to the downside, ultimately panicking a ton of long traders and or technical traders, where the masses panic sold straight into private support levels, where you could make the additional case for a great risk reward long trade setup to the upside. And upon dollar cost averaging, we put in a well-defined daily reverse candle, and the entirety of that trade, with the entirety of the trade good for 326% in gains, tripling your, and that was reflected upon violently on a big crash to the downside, with a profit taking just a ton of technical traders closing in on the position, where the charts once again remanufactured the headlines, where in Q2 of 2024, Intelligent Biosolutions reported a pretty remarkable financial turnaround, where year over year, thanks to a 114% increase in sales totaling $760,000, the surge was driven by a 30% rise in cartridge sales and a staggering 91% increase in reader sales, reflecting the company's strong performance. And that was my last and initial final target that was hit there. Beautiful, well-defined. Talk about, once again, key metrics of the technical aspect of the stock, gaining in and creating the headlines once again, where technical traders ultimately completely covered right amongst that gap price support level, price resistance level, and it was off to the races in a big move to the upside. Where do we go from here? Make no mistake about it, this could be an additional backtest and or retest amongst the 50 exponential moving average, where there has been vast momentum shifts within the technical aspect of the stock here, with what I would see near-term exaggerated positive divergences with a bullish crossover here and a green candle close that's starting to exceed the remaining reactionary highs up above, where you haven't had a magnitude of this momentum and shift in the oscillator histogram going back since November of 2023, when you had that huge gap up moment. But again, this could be the beginning stages for an additional uptrend and or reflection on a retest of the 1238 price resistance. Make no mistake about it, you do not want to see an undercut of the primary reactionary downtrend line once again, honing in on the 249 price support level, ultimately damaging some of these technical momentum indicators. Long traders want to see an additional reaction and or continued upward shift to the upside to maintain the momentum within the key technical momentum indicators, ultimately overcutting its zero line thresholds in the momentum of the oscillator histogram, and that would completely raise the odds for rechallenging of that gap price support level. Very well, trading within the no man's land of in between price resistance and price support. Ultimately, I believe long traders and bull traders need to defend the 50-day moving average on a complete big breakout moving technical buy signal. Ultimately, raise the odds for a sustained move to the upside upon taking out what you would call multi-year price resistance. And once again, when coming to choosing to covering profits, do not underestimate how much of the quarter and or quarterly earnings were priced into the stock before a severe downturn and or downturn could occur, where you could initially begin to raise your stops up above, gearing up for a much larger sustained move to the upside, ultimately covering and scaling out process of taking profits, letting some free shares run for free and spread to the upside.